athletic career to something else, right? And I went through that 3 years ago, and it was, I tried to be very strong because it is very hard. And I talk to retired athletes all the time, and it's very challenging. Like I tell people all the time, like, an athlete dies twice. You die the day you retired, and then you die later in life when you lose your life. Yeah.
All right, guys. Former UFC fighter that grew up in Brazil, Claudia. Thanks for coming on.
Yeah, my pleasure, man.
What was that like in Brazil? For how long were you there?
It was rough. I grew up in one of the most challenging parts of Brazil, the Northeast. Grew up in a very humble, traditional family. And I saw my parents struggling to raise 5 kids, and in Brazil, everybody does soccer and trains jiu-jitsu, and I started training jiu-jitsu as a kid, and I saw an opportunity to change my life and change my family's pattern of life. And I decided in a very young age that I was gonna go through that path.
Wow.
When I was 14 years old, I was like fully committed to jiu-jitsu, but there was not a lot of money in jiu-jitsu. Like, it was very hard to build a career in jiu-jitsu. So then I saw a lot of people in my gym moving outside of that town to go train MMA. And I understood that that was the path. I didn't want to get hit in the head, didn't want, to go through everything you go through in an MMA career. And I had like this love for jiu-jitsu and for the philosophy of jiu-jitsu. But I was committed to change my life and change my family's pattern of life. And I decided to go fight MMA. And I'm talking about a time where women was not in the UFC yet, right? So I made that decision right there. So I'm a pioneer in the sport of MMA. When I made it to the UFC, I was in the first ever strawweight fight in the UFC history.
Oh, wow.
So I launched a division in the UFC back in 2014 and spent almost 10 years fighting for the UFC, and now I work for the company. So a lot of struggles to get here, and I watch people that grew up with me and people that didn't make the right decisions in their lives back then, and they still there, right? And my life just has changed so much from being like very dedicated from a very young age and making the right decisions throughout my life.
Did you move your family over here too?
They don't want to move here.
Oh, really?
No, they don't.
They don't like America?
they don't speak English. It's hard for them to drive here, to communicate here, so they don't want to move here. But they have a really good life in Brazil.
I bet. You upgraded them to the penthouse?
Yeah. This is one of the things I'm most proud of, because it's not even about the things you achieve throughout having, I had a really challenging life growing up in Brazil, then moving to the favelas in Rio de Janeiro to be able to make it all the way to the UFC without any help. My family couldn't help me or support me, and just seeing my family now living the life I dreamed about, it's one of the best things that could have happened in my life, because like the money I made, it was good in my career. Like, I learned how to invest my money, which is one thing that most athletes don't learn throughout their career. And I learned that in a very young age, that I needed to learn how to invest my money and leverage the money I was making in fighting. But like, what really matters is it's the person I became on the way of chasing those things for my family and for myself. I'm very proud of the person I became throughout those years.
Yeah, so you had to grow up quick.
Yeah, I had. And at 14, I was like fully committed to jiu-jitsu and MMA,
So did you drop out of school, just go full time?
No, I actually went to college. I have a law degree.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Holy crap.
So while I was fighting the highest level in the UFC, I was going to college.
Jeez, so 2 full-time jobs pretty much.
Yes. A lot of people were making fun of me. My friends in the gym, the fighters that were also fighting in the UFC, they were all making fun of me because I was doing both. They were like, oh, you're not going to get anywhere like trying do 2 different careers like that. But I was fully committed to that. No distractions, no addictions, no partying with friends, like none of that. Like my entire life, I haven't done that. When I retired, I decided to go try, drink, and then go out and stuff. But I was like, no, this is not for me. This is not me.
Oh, so you didn't drink your whole
No.
25 years, first 25 years pretty much?
Yeah, so I started at 14 till now, living a high performance life, and it's very hard to transition from professional sports to anything else, right? Like you build the whole life learning skills in your career, and then by the time you are 30, 35, somebody tells you, hey, now guess what? Forget everything you did, go do something else. Like, you gotta go live a whole different life now. That's why we see a lot of athletes depressed and killing themselves. I know so many athletes that killed themselves and took their lives because it's so hard to transition from an athletic career to something else, right? And I went through that 3 years ago, and it was, I tried to be very strong because it is very hard. And I talk to retired athletes all the time, and it's very challenging. Like I tell people all the time, like an athlete dies twice. You die the day you retired, and then you die later in life when you lose your life. Yeah. So, yeah, tough life.
I could see that, though, because you get wrapped up in your identity as being that person, and then it's all gone, and then what do you do now?
Yeah, imagine like a medical doctor, right? You go to you go to college and to residency for almost 14 years of your life. So imagine like midlife, somebody take your degree and just tell you, hey, go do something else, because everything you studied for, everything you were passionate about, everything you have always dreamed about, now is gone. Go do something else. This is kind of like what an athlete goes through, because you put your whole life, mind, soul, tears, blood in there. And then when you get to mid-30s, you're done. You have to do something else. So it's very, very challenging.
Yeah. Luckily, you had the law degree to fall back on, though, right? So you kind of transitioned easier than most people? Yeah.
And the reason why I got a good job in the UFC is because I have a good background. I know, like most athletes from where I'm from, they barely know how to use a computer. They're not very educated, and I educated myself because I was thinking about the next thing. So I only 3 fighters ever retired from the UFC and worked for the UFC, and only 1 female, and I am the one. So only 1 girl ever retired from fighting and worked for the UFC. And I have a pretty good position in there. I'm helping the community, helping jiu-jitsu, helping MMA, and I get a lot of joy from that.
That's incredible. So Daniel Cormier is the other one, right?
He works for ESPN.
Oh, ESPN.
So Forrest Griffin and Minotauro are the other 2.
Okay, that's cool. What type of law did you specialize in?
So in Brazil, you go to law school to decide what you're gonna do next, right? Like there are 7 things you can do after you finish law school, and I wanted to be a federal agent.
Whoa.
That's why I went to law school, because in order to become a federal agent in Brazil, you have to go to law school first. So I didn't want to be a lawyer. I didn't study law to follow that path to become an attorney. I just wanted to be a federal agent.
You want to be a Fed?
I wanted, but my MMA career worked pretty well, and I took that path.
So you didn't like criminals, and there was probably a ton of those where you grew up, so that left an impression on you.
A lot, yeah. I grew up seeing, a lot of crime, a lot of girls getting and people getting almost killed,
Oh my gosh.
The favelas in Brazil are rough.
I've heard about them, yeah.
They're very rough.
Anything goes over there, right?
Everything, anything happens. And I saw that, a lot of that growing up. And that's when I made the decision of whatever it takes in my life to get out of this and build a life for myself, I'll do it. And that was my thought in tough fights, when I was in bad situations, in fights, I was always thinking about the main purpose and changing my life and changing my family's not life. And that's what made me hang in there, because I never been finished in the UFC.
Oh, yeah?
But I had a fight where I was my mind was telling me that I was ready to quit, just quit, like tap, get out of here. But then I kept telling myself, no, like you can do more, like stand in here, stay, you can do this. And, I lost the fight, but won in life, you know?
Yeah. You're like the female Cheeto Vera.
Yeah.
That guy never drops out.
But yeah, like South America is like rough area to grow up in, right?
Yeah.
We see so many good athletes coming out of that area.
That's true.
Look at Charles Oliveira, Jose Aldo, like all those guys, they grew up pretty rough. And then when you grow up like that, I feel like just like anything that happens in your life is just like another challenge, because you already went through so many challenges growing up, which is different than growing up in America,
Yeah,
like
very different.
Being poor in America is different than being poor in Brazil.
Yeah. That's one thing you can't teach, though.
You can't.
Because there's a lot of fighters that grow up in money and they pay for coaches, but they don't have that fire.
Exactly. Yeah, that fire of like, I have to hang in here. I got to stay in here because I got to change my life. Like a lot of fighters, they get like knocked out and get concussions and get injured literally fighting for $10,000, $20,000 because that money will change their lives.
Wow.
Right? Here in America, not so much because you have so many opportunities,
Yeah, $10K here is nothing.
It's nothing.
2 months of rent.
Yeah. When I learned that, you could make money with other things other than fighting in America, I was like, hey, wait, let me learn that, let me learn that white people skills because I want to make that kind of money.
And that's where Derek Moneyberg comes in. Shout out to Derek.
Yeah.
How did you two meet?
We met in a fight, actually.
Nice.
He came up to me and he was talking about business. I was like, interesting. This guy is pretty confident. Like, I'm curious about him, and we did an interview together, and I was amazed by, how smart he is and the way he looks at investments. And I was already investing my money when I met him, but he just taught me like a different level of investing and making money. He really taught me how to go make money in America.
Nice.
So I was investing in real estate and a little bit in the stock market, but then he just gave me a whole idea of what to do next and how to create businesses and stuff. So now I do a lot of other different things other than my job in the UFC because of that guy.
Yeah, your money's working for you now, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, and
exactly.
very few people get to that position.
Yeah, exactly. So like, I like my job, but I'm not too attached to because my money is working for me.
Right.
So I have the freedom of like, oh, hey, if I don't like that, if it's not serving me, I can go do something else I like because my money is good and my money is working for me. It's
That makes
a pretty
sense.
good position to be in.
Yeah. Who do you have as your GOAT for female fighters? Greatest of all time?
I think Ronda Rousey, she kind of changed the game for us. I was training very hard in Brazil, getting beat up by boys all the time.
Oh, you train with boys?
Yeah, because when I was fighting, there was no girls in the
Oh,
UFC. So
crap.
like, think about it. Gyms didn't have a lot of girls training either. I was the only girl in the gym.
Wow.
So I grew up training with Jose Aldo, Renan Barral, Josia Formiga, like guys that made it to top contenders or champion level in the UFC. And I was getting beat up by those guys like my entire life.
Holy crap.
And
Jose Aldo's beating up grown men and you're fighting him.
yeah, I trained with him a lot. And he was a big inspiration for me
Nice.
too. But Ronda just changed the game, like she showed everybody that in order to be a good athlete in the MMA world, you have to be a product, not just a good fighter, and that's when I learned how I told myself right there, hey, I gotta go learn English, I gotta go talk to fans, like I have to learn how to be a product that the UFC can sell,
Right.
because fighting alone will not do the job, and she kind of showed that to other girls. And then I started training before her actually, but she went in there and showed the world that you have to be a badass, but you also have to be a product, and when I learned that, everything kind of changed for me as well.
Yeah, you see all the top fighters and boxers have that personal brand aspect to them.
Yeah, personal branding is everything, right? Like if you understand marketing, sales, and that you are a personal brand, like you're gonna make a lot of money.
Yep. Sean O'Malley's a good example of that.
Yes,
He's
I
crushing
think
it.
he's the best personal brand, like best active personal brand in MMA today.
Agreed. Yeah, him, and I know Sean Strickland's controversial. He has like a cult following. I know you're not a fan of him, but
I like him, you know, like I trained at Extreme Couture. I spent a lot of time on the mats with him, you know, like we cool with each other. Like I always talk to him and stuff. I just don't like the way he talks to people. I don't like this stuff. Listen, that's his type of marketing, you know, like I am more humble, philosophical. I respect the art. So I don't like the trash talking too much. I don't like humiliating people. I don't like that part of the game, but I understand, you know, that's another way of building your brand and making money.
Yeah. McGregor did it.
He did. And he made hundreds of millions of dollars because of it. So smart guy.
Yeah. Is that your goal, 100 million?
I'm working on being a Deca millionaire now. I have a couple million already, and it's crazy, right? Like Derek always makes fun of guys when we are together because he goes like, little girls out there are outworking a lot of men out there, you know, because I work very hard, and you know I try to use my brain, not just my body.
Yeah.
You know, and I made, you know, a couple $1 million.
Amazing.
Not only from fighting, you know, like using my brain and investing the money I was making in fighting. You know, I got to the point where I had 9 houses, 9 properties, and I built an Airbnb business. And I started selling my houses this year because I fell in love with the stock market. I was like, oh, I don't have to deal with tenants. I don't have to deal with maintenance. You know, I don't have to deal with all of the things that comes with rental properties. So I'm just going to invest in the stock market. So I still have 6 houses, but selling them slowly to put all my money in the stock market and go do other fun things, help other people. I love helping other people as well. So that's where I'm at.
That's incredible. Yeah. Congrats on that. That's beautiful. Not many female fighters reach that wealth.
I know.
And you could probably count on one hand.
True. And you see, I see that. I see girls that, like, they beat me in fighting, but I beat them in life.
Right.
You know, I go like, okay, you beat me in there, and that was an opportunity for me to make some money, but then you made the wrong decision with the money you made by beating me, and I made the right decision, you know? So, like, I really focus in like the 4 core values in life, which is wealth, health, right? Like I'm very big in health, relationships, and career. You know, I'm very focused on those areas of my life, and I try to put all my energy into those things because I feel like if you got those 4 down, you're going to be happy and fulfilled.
Yeah. 2 million goes a long way in Brazil too.
It does.
You guys are probably living like kings out there.
Yeah.
I remember when I went to like Jamaica with like $100,000, it was like a lot, you know? I was like a millionaire over there at the time.
Yeah, Jamaica is pretty rough too.
Yeah, it was very rough. I think $1 there is like $13 or something crazy.
Oh, wow. That's pretty good.
Is Brazil like that? Like how much is $1 worth in Brazil?
Almost 6.
Oh, 6?
Yeah, almost 6 reals.
Wow.
Yeah, so it's pretty good.
Yeah, $250,000 here is a millionaire over there.
Yeah.
Nice. That's cool, man. Do you go back there often?
I don't go too much. I try to go to see my family, and like I miss the culture a little bit. But I love the way like America thinks about business and responsibilities and you know the accountability. Like I love the way business is here. That I want to be in this environment more, you know, like I had the chance of going to Florida when I moved to America, and I was like, okay, I'm going to be around a lot of Brazilians. And if I'm trying to learn a new language and learn all the things that happens in this country, I want to be in a place where I can learn, you know, so then I moved here, you know. And, so I go to Brazil sometimes to see my family, but I just love America.
I love Vegas too.
Yeah, I do too.
It's hard to beat Vegas.
It is. And you know what? Like, I think Vegas, in my opinion, is one of the healthiest places you can be. As crazy as it is, because like people come here to go to the Strip, but outside of the Strip, we have great gyms. We have a lot of athletes, a lot of business people that are high performers. So they train. Look at Dana, like. The guy is a killer in the gym, and he takes care of his health and stuff. You do too. I watch you Instagram. You're always in the gym, always taking care of yourself. So like, I feel like if you're in Vegas doing business, you are a high performer in everything you do. So
Absolutely.
you're taking care of your health, like great jiu-jitsu gyms, great places to go do martial arts, great athletes to surround yourself with, healthy restaurants, and, just people looking to be healthy and making money, make money here.
I agree, though. I know it's a controversial take because people assume Vegas, you party and drink and go out, but I don't even go out.
Me neither. I probably go to the Strip like 4 times a year.
Yeah, I barely go to the Strip. Only for like a business meeting, honestly, or a conference.
And business here is great, right?
Great. Every time I go to a UFC or Power Stop event, the people I meet, phenomenal.
Yeah.
You know, it's so nice. Like, and there's always a conference here or an event. Derek's always hosting dinners or whatever. So it's just always good people. Shout out to Vegas, man.
Yeah.
It's slept on. People always say LA and Miami, but I got Vegas over those.
Me too. And it's not too expensive to live here.
Not at all.
No state taxes.
Yeah. I just got my first house.
Nice.
Yeah.
Congrats.
Trying to get like you. Get to 6.
Yeah. You want to invest in real estate?
I want to have a couple houses in a couple cities. Yeah.
That's nice. Yeah. That's when I started was kind of like that because I bought a house in Rio. I was living in Rio. And I moved to America. I didn't know it was gonna like make the move so fast, but I lost a fight and I was getting injured so much. And when I was living in Brazil, like we had no clue what like recovery is. I was killing my body all the way throughout to like my 25th year birthday.
Damn.
I was like killing my body. So then when I understood that I could have a healthier life, I moved here and I just started like to understand how everything worked here. So then I rented my house in Rio and was rented in Airbnb. And then when I moved here, I rented a house here in Vegas. And I was going to New Jersey to train with Frankie Edgar over there. And the house I was renting here, I put a listing on Airbnb. So when I was in New Jersey, my house was rented here. And I was paying my rent and making money with that house. I was like, wait, now I got my house in Brazil making me money.
Yeah.
And then now I got a house that I rented in Vegas that it's also making me money. Wait a minute.
Passive
Let me buy
income.
houses, This is how everything started. Like I didn't have anybody advising me what to do. I just knew I had to invest my money because I wasn't just going to make that money I was making in fighting, multiply doing that thing,
Yeah, that's smart though, because 80% of athletes go broke.
True.
So the fact that you have that mindset early on is great.
Yeah.
I think if you waited, it would have been tougher, right?
Yeah. If I waited by now, like, can you imagine now retired at 35, not having a job, not having any money? I would have killed myself too.
Yeah, it'd be tough. Man, so you were locked in. Were you even dating? Like when you were locked in?
No.
You gave up dating completely?
Well, I was so focused on fighting, fighting and like building a life for myself, so not a lot of dating in my life.
Wow. Because those are like, for a woman, their 20s and 30s, those are like prime years for dating.
Yeah, but I was focused on, making money and building a career for myself.
That's respect though. And that's why you are where you are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Now I can go date,
Yeah.
and have fun and go do whatever I want.
That must be tough though, because you got money. So a lot of these guys, you're richer than.
I don't even, like, it's very hard for me to,
Yeah, I bet.
even to have a conversation with a guy, because, it's very hard to operate in the level I operate in, right? Very hard to, like, think the way I think and do things the way I do. So, like, most guys that try to talk to me, I have no patience. Like, dude, like, please don't talk to me because it's complicated.
It's intimidating from a point of view of a man. When a woman is this successful as you, this confident, this experience, like, I'd be pretty intimidated.
Yeah.
So I could see why they're striking out.
And I can beat them up too.
Yeah, like imagine that. Like, yeah, I'm good on that. What's the next thing you're working on right now?
So I built a coaching business, and I'm doing weight loss challenges. But, like, people love short-term results.
Yeah.
So the weight loss challenge is kind of like the catchy part of people getting into my business to work with me, because I have a couple of coaching certifications and I became a high performance coach, and I work with athletes too that are retiring from fighting, and I work with business people. Like, I have a client that is a CEO of a public traded company. Like, I work with bank managers and stuff. So like, I draw in a lot of business people that want to operate in a high performance level, and I help them to build their physique and to have a strong mindset and to change their mentality and just block out the noise and go do what they want to do in life. And I got people win through those weight challenges where, you know, people want short-term results. So then they come in and, you know, we go through 4 weeks of a whole transformation where we talk about values, goal setting, a high performance life when it comes to fitness, recovery, nutrition. You know, I also talk about investing in personal finances, which most people in this country are totally lost about that. Like,
sure.
it's very impressive to, you know, talk to people and see how, like, they don't want to talk about money. They don't want to look at money. You know, they just want to work and, you know, they think that one day they will be okay with a life just like that, you know. And I always say that, hey, if you're not assessing, you are just guessing in any area of your life. If you're not assessing your fitness, you're not gonna achieve the exact numbers you want to achieve when it comes to weight, body fat, you know, muscle mass, all that stuff. Finances is the same thing. If you're not assessing your numbers and understanding where you want to go and what you want to achieve. I want to become a deca millionaire. So I have a plan, right? Most people don't have a plan to retirement. They don't even know how much money they need to retire, right? Like, so I like talking about, you know, the core values I was talking about, just to help people to understand that being in shape takes a lot more than physical capabilities and the idea of, I got to go work out. If your finances are not doing well, you might eat your emotions and not go to the gym because you don't feel inspired and motivated. You know, so like everything wraps around choosing to live a high performance life because you have a purpose, you have a motivation. Now you understand your finances well, you understand your health well. Now you can go to the gym and have peace and clarity around where you're going in life.
I love that. Yeah, it's almost like a full circle.
Yeah. And you need that.
Yeah.
You look like a high performer guy, right? Like,
yeah, I take everything serious. Health, finances, mindset, all that.
Do you agree?
Because you need everything. Because if you don't sleep well, it's going to affect everything. So you need everything.
Exactly. So do you agree with if you're not assessing, you're guessing?
Yeah. I'm pretty data driven. I track my sleep. I track my blood tests. I track a lot of stuff because you don't know if you're going to get better by just guessing.
Exactly. That's my whole point. Like, most people think, oh, they guess about what's going to be next or what their future will look like. But it's not going to be like the way they're thinking if they just keep doing the same things and don't change things around and don't look at the numbers.
Yeah, you can't do that. Yeah, and a lot of people are scared to talk about numbers, but I think it's needed.
Yeah, it is. It is.
My parents never talked about numbers, you know? Really? And I think when I have kids, I'll probably be pretty open if they ask.
Yeah, I think you should. I think like school should teach kids about, you know, investing, like putting some money in S&P 500 funds. Like, you know, like start at your 20s, put $200 in there, buy S&P 500. By the time you 70, you're gonna have $1 million in there just
from
by
200
saving $200. So like, it's so easy to save $200 if you pay attention to. I wish I did that when I was in my 20s, you know. So like every time I see a 20-year-old person now, I go like, "Hey, go buy S&P 500." It's like, do something.
The compound on it, right?
Yeah.
7% a year.
Yeah, you can, like, it's up to like 12 now.
Damn, 12 a year?
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, with inflation now, 7 isn't really enough. 7% a year.
True. You can't even beat inflation.
Yeah. Inflation, and then just everything's going up. It's crazy. They're printing nonstop.
They printing nonstop money. It's crazy. But, you know, if you understand what's going on and choose the right investments, and like my portfolio is 70% up this year.
Damn.
70%.
70? Sign me up for that.
70%. And, you know, shout out to Derek because he helped me, you know, in the beginning to choose the right stocks and understand how to analyze the stocks.
That's
and I own a lot of the stuff he owns, and his portfolio is like over 100% up.
Oh my God. He said he's going to have 100 million in a few years.
Yeah. I bet that guy will be a billionaire.
I could see it because he's pretty young still, 40s.
He's 45.
Yeah. He's still got a good work ethic. Yeah, shout out to Derek, man. It's good to have a mentor like that.
It is.
It's important.
Very good. I love coaches. I think coaches need coaches. I still have fighting coaches because I still train jiu-jitsu. I don't train MMA anymore because I don't want to get hit in the head.
Yeah.
I did that so much that I don't want to do it just for fun, you know, but I still train a lot of jiu-jitsu. And now I've been training jiu-jitsu for 21 years. So I just love it so much. It kind of like restructure your brain, you know, and teaches you how to deal with hard stuff, you know. By the time it's 10 a.m. and I get to work, I already got choked out a few times. Somebody already twisted my arms in different ways, you know.
Work is easy at that point.
Anything that happens during my day is easy because I already did the hard stuff, you know.
Yeah.
So I love that. So I love training jiu-jitsu, and I still do a lot. And I have a coach for jiu-jitsu. I have a coach for my finances. I have a coach for my mind, you know. And I just love that idea of having people that have done what you want to do, and just have them in your life to help you to go where you want to go.
Absolutely. I got coaches for everything. I got a sleep coach. I got a breathwork coach, business coach, health coach. I mean, it just saves so much time.
Yeah.
So much time.
And you can achieve so much more. People think that they're going to waste your money. No, you're going to make more money.
You're going to make way more.
Way more money.
Yeah. People have the wrong mindset when it comes to investing.
Yeah.
Like, you shouldn't see it as you're giving them money. You're saving so much time because they took 10, 20 years to learn all that stuff. You're making it back quick. Yeah. You know? Where can people find you and what you're up to next?
So on Instagram, Instagram is my biggest platform. I'm working on other stuff to, you know, put my word out there more, help more people, you know, because when I talk about coaching and my challenges, you know, when I started thinking about retirement, I wasn't sure if I was gonna find something that brought me the same amount of joy fighting did, and something that challenged me the same way fighting did, you know. And I love my job in the UFC. I love what I'm doing there, but coaching people and helping people break through fear and changing their mindset and getting in shape and getting ripped, it's really what gives me a lot of joy. So I wanna help more people to get to that point in life. Because you're a high performer. Tell me if it's not good to operate in the highest level possible. It's
the best.
Like closing the gap between the person you are now and the person you have the potential to be is one of the most challenging things in the world, but also it's one of the most rewarding things in the world. There's nothing compared to that. So I love that, and I'm working on getting more of that out there so I can help more people to achieve that high performance life as well.
Awesome. We'll link your stuff below. Thanks for coming on.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thanks for watching, guys. That was super fun. I'll see you tomorrow.